All right, thanks, guys. The Magic take on the Pistons. That's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Detroit. The Pistons open 3, up to -3.5. Total open 204, up to 206 and a hook. 65% are leaning Detroit, 71% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Magic are plus 140 for some money line cash. Now, Mo Bamba's doubtful with a foot injury for Orlando, and on the Detroit side of things, Jaja Pachulia is questionable with a leg injury. But despite all of that, Detroit is still 5-1 straight up in their last six, taking on Orlando. They're also covering 67% of their games, taking on teams below 450. Now, Orlando, on the other side of things, well, they're 29th in the association in road scoring. They're also 27th in defensive rebounding. And when it comes to the total, Orlando is 4-2 to the over in their last six, taking on Detroit. 8-3 to the over in their last 11 in the city of Detroit. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, slide it down, and take the Pistons -3 in the over, 206.5 in that one. And before we go ahead and move on, I just want to take a quick timeout and just welcome you to the show. I got some lines and personal leans out for Wednesday's NBA action. It's already hump day. We're almost at the weekend. But before we go ahead and get into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented record of 9-4 in my last 13 daily best plays, you're certainly costing yourself roughly 2 weeks of winning, and you're costing yourself some valuable information each and every day. You're not subscribed to that website. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. That is it. And there's also plenty of free content there as well. So once again, please feel free to just hit that pause button right now. Open up your browser. All you got to do is type in patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take you a couple of seconds. The link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you're watching me right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You most certainly make it all worth it. And with all that said and done, let's go ahead and hop right back into some more lines and personal leans for Wednesday's NBA action. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Bucks at the Grizzlies. That's going to be an 8 o'clock tip-off in Memphis. Milwaukee open and remains -5.5. Total open 209.5 down to 209 even. Memphis is just 1-8 straight up in their last 9. 1-9 against the spread in their last 10. The Grizzlies rank 29th in points scored, 24th in three-point shooting, and 30th in offensive rebounding. Now, Milwaukee, on the other side of things, well, they're second in the association in scoring, 4th in field goal percentage, and 1st in offensive rebounding. Now, scoring-wise, Milwaukee's 5-0 to the over in their last 5, taking on Memphis. Meanwhile, on the Grizzlies side of things, we have Gasol, Parsons, Anderson, and Brooks all on the injury report. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take Milwaukee -5 in the over, 209 in that one. Next game, Nets at the Rockets, 8 o'clock tip-off in Houston. The Rockets open 4, up to -5. Total open 220, all the way up to 223. 71% are leaning Houston, 73% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Nets are plus 170 for some money line cash. Now, Dudley's out with a hammy. Alan Crabb's out with a knee, and Napier is questionable with a hammy. Also, Hollis Jefferson is questionable tonight. That is all for the Brooklyn Nets. Meanwhile, on the other side, Houston, well, CP3 is out with a hammy, Gordon's questionable with a knee, and Clint Capella's out with a thumb. But regardless of all that, Houston's still 9-3 against the spread in their last dozen, 15-7 against the spread on their home court. Houston ranks 8th in home scoring, 6th in three-point shooting at home. They're also 12-1 straight up in their last 13 at the Toyota Center. Now, scoring-wise, Houston 3-3 to the under in their last 6. Brooklyn 3-1 to the under in their last 4 themselves. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Houston Rockets -5 in the under, 223 in that one. Next game, Raptors Celtics. That should be a good one. 8 o'clock tip-off in Beantown. Boston open 1, up to -2. Total open 222, down to 221 and a hook. Toronto has Valanciunas out, Van Vliet questionable, and Anunoby out on their side of things. They're also just 4-6 against the spread in their last 10, 5-10 against the spread in their last 15. and this Raptors team is covering just 38% of their games away from home. They rank 23rd in the association in three-point shooting. Now, Boston on the other side, they've been very good in the Garden, 15 and 5 straight up at home, 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 at the Garden. And when it comes to the scoring, Boston's 8-4 to the under in their last dozen, taking on Toronto. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Celtics -2 and the under 221.5 in that one. Next game, Spurs, Mavs, 8:30 Dallas. Little flip of the lines in this one. San Antonio open +1, now -1. Total open 218.5 down to 217 and a hook. 56% are leaning Spurs, 72% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Dallas is -105 for some money line cash. Now, Rudy Gay is questionable with a wrist. Marco Bellinelli questionable with a knee. Murray out with an ACL. That is all for San Antonio. Meanwhile, on the Dallas side, just Dennis Smith is questionable, and he has the illness, maybe the sniffles or something like that. But anyway, Dallas is 16-5 straight up at home, 15-6 against the spread in that same category. The Mavs are ranked 4th in defending the 3-ball at home. They're also 3rd in defensive rebounding at home as well. Meanwhile, on the Spurs side of things, they dropped 3 out of their last 4. They're also just 1-3 against the spread in that same category. They failed to cover in their last 5 games, taking on the Mavericks. And when it comes to the scoring, San Antonio 6-3 to the over in their last 9, 14-7 to the over in their games away from home. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the home dogs in this one. Give me Dallas +1 and the over 217.5 in that one. Next game, Cavs, Blazers, 10 o'clock tip-off in Portland. The Blazers open 12.5 up to -13.5. Total open 217 and a hook up to 218 even. 64% are leaning Portland, 58% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Cavs are +800 for some money line cash. And speaking of the Cavs, we have Larry Nance out with a knee injury. David Nwaba out with a knee injury as well. Meanwhile, no reported injuries on the Portland side of things. The Blazers are 4-2 straight up in their last 6. 4-2 against the spread in that same category. The Blazers rank 1st in offensive rebounding at home. They're also covering 60% of their games at the Moda Center. Now, scoring-wise, Portland 63% to the over in their games at the current line. Cleveland 6-1 to the over in their last 7. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, and take Portland -13 and the over 218 in that one. Next game, that is going to be Jazz at the Clippers, 10:30 tip-off in Los Angeles. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. The Clippers open 2, down to -1.5. Total open 221 and a hook, up to 223. 56% are leaning Clippers, 66% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Jazz are +105 for some money line cash. Now we have Rubio out with a thigh, Exum out with an ankle, Nato out with a groin. That's all for Utah. Meanwhile, on the Clippers side of things, no reported injuries at this time. The Clippers are 17-8 against the spread when laying the points. They're also covering 69% of their games as the official home favorite. Utah on the other side just 25th in scoring on the road, 26 in road three-point shooting as well. And when it comes to scoring, Utah's 4-1 to the under in their last 5. Clippers 6-1 to the under in their last 7. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, take the Clippers -1 and the under 223 in that one. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some college basketball. We're going to go ahead and begin with Auburn at Texas A&M, 7 o'clock tip-off at Texas A&M. Auburn open 4, up to -6.5. Total open 149, up to 150. 67% are leaning Auburn, 69% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Aggies of Texas A&M are +245 for some money line cash. Now, Auburn's 12-3 straight up overall for the year. They're covering 75% of their games, taking on teams allowing more than 72 points per contest. Meanwhile, on the A&M side of things, they failed to cover in 6 out of their last 8 at home. They also ranked 208 in college basketball in defensive rebounding. Not good getting those boards on the defensive end. And when it comes to the scoring, Texas A&M 5-1 to the under in their last 6 at home. Auburn 4-1 to the under in their last 5 when traveling. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, and take Auburn -6 and the under 150 in that one. Next game, Kansas State, Oklahoma. 7 o'clock tip-off at OU. The Sooners